Let me take you back to a quiet afternoon a few summers ago. I was sitting in my small garden, feeling unusually heavy, not just in my body but in my chest. Not pain, exactly, but a sense of pressure, of being slowed down. I thought, is this just age? Or is my heart trying to tell me something? That was the moment I began learning about arterial health and how much of it is in our hands, especially after 65. And one of the first foods I discovered was something I hadn't eaten since my childhood. Pomegranate. Yes, that ruby red fruit we used to pick apart as kids. It turns out it's more than just delicious. It's medicine, hidden in plain sight. According to several scientific studies, pomegranate contains powerful antioxidants called punicalagins, which help reduce inflammation and prevent oxidative stress in the arteries. But even more remarkable, it may help reverse the buildup of plaque, that sticky substance that clogs arteries and quietly increases our risk of heart attack and stroke. One study from the journal Atherosclerosis showed that patients who consumed pomegranate juice daily experienced a significant reduction in arterial plaque, as much as 30% over 1 year. That's not just prevention, that's healing. So what did I do? I began a simple ritual. Half a cup of pure pomegranate juice each morning, or a bowl of fresh seeds in my yogurt. I even began to enjoy peeling them again, the way I used to as a child. But now, with the quiet knowledge that I was helping my body work better, cleaner, lighter. And within a few weeks, that tightness in my chest, it didn't disappear overnight, but it softened. I started walking longer without needing to rest. My energy felt steadier, my heart calmer. No, it wasn't magic, it was just one small decision, repeated with care. So if you're over 65 and you're wondering where to begin, you might start with something simple, sweet, and healing. A fruit that quietly cleanses your arteries and reminds you that it's never too late to feel light again. There's something comforting about the smell of grilled salmon on a Sunday afternoon. It reminds me of my daughter's visits when she'd cook for me, gently, mindfully, as if every herb she sprinkled was a form of love. Back then, I didn't realize that meal was doing more than just feeding my hunger. It was also protecting my heart. You see, after 65, your arteries begin to stiffen. It's a silent process, one that narrows your vessels and makes your heart work harder than it should. But there's a natural way to fight back, and it doesn't come from a pharmacy. It comes from the ocean. Fatty fish, like salmon, mackerel, sardines, and herring, are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, especially EPA and DHA. These compounds help lower triglycerides, reduce blood pressure, and prevent the formation of arterial plaque. But most importantly, they help reduce chronic inflammation, the hidden enemy behind almost every age-related disease, including heart attacks and strokes. A study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association showed that older adults who consumed fatty fish at least twice a week had up to a 27% lower risk of dying from cardiovascular causes. That's not a supplement. That's food. Real food. Now, you don't need to be a gourmet chef. A simple piece of grilled salmon with lemon, a can of wild sardines on whole grain toast. Even just one small serving twice a week can make a difference, not just for your heart, but for your brain, your joints, your mood. I remember one quiet morning, I stood by the stove flipping a piece of salmon while soft music played in the background. And I thought to myself, I'm not just eating to live longer, I'm eating to live lighter. That's the beauty of foods like this. They don't shout, they don't demand. They simply work with your body, day by day, protecting your most vital parts from the inside out. So if you're wondering what to eat for a stronger heart after 65, start with something that swims, and watch how your heart begins to breathe easier. There was a time I didn't care much for greens. Spinach, too soft. Kale, too bitter. But something changed when my doctor looked me in the eyes and said, "Your blood pressure is creeping up, and it's not going to stop unless you do something about it." I didn't want pills. I wanted to try, just once, to see if food could be my medicine. And that's when I discovered the quiet power of leafy greens. Spinach. kale, Swiss chard, arugula, collard greens, all humble vegetables, all easy to overlook. But inside them is a compound that changes everything. Nitrates, naturally occurring ones, not the harmful processed kind. When you eat nitrate-rich greens, your body converts them into nitric oxide, a molecule that relaxes and widens your blood vessels, improving blood flow and lowering blood pressure, often without side effects. And with better blood flow comes a quieter heart. Less strain, less work, less risk of those tiny tears that invite plaque to form. One study published in the European Journal of Epidemiology found that people who ate 1 cup of cooked greens daily had up to a 15% lower risk of heart disease. 15%, just from what's on your plate. So I made a promise to myself. Every day I'd add at least 1 handful of greens. Sometimes it was a spinach omelet in the morning. Other days, a kale salad with olive oil and lemon. Or even just blending arugula into a green smoothie. The first few weeks were hard. My taste buds resisted, but then something shifted. My energy rose. My head felt clearer. And on my next doctor's visit, my numbers had dropped. Not dramatically, but enough. Enough to feel hope. Leafy greens are quiet warriors. They don't advertise themselves with bright colors or bold flavors, but that they clean from the inside out, gently sweeping away what no longer serves you. So, if you're over 65 and you haven't made friends with spinach or kale yet, maybe it's time. Because sometimes the path to a stronger heart starts in the simplest garden. When I was a child, my grandmother used to mix a golden powder into warm milk before bed. She'd say, "This keeps the fire inside you gentle." At the time, I didn't understand. I just knew it tasted earthy, strange, and somehow soothing. Years later, when I started searching for natural ways to care for my heart, her words came back to me. And so did turmeric. This bright yellow spice, used for centuries in traditional Indian and Asian medicine, contains a powerful compound called curcumin. Curcumin is known for one thing above all: its ability to fight inflammation. Why does that matter? Because chronic inflammation is one of the hidden causes of plaque buildup in your arteries. It damages the lining of your blood vessels, making them sticky, vulnerable, more likely to attract cholesterol and form blockages. But curcumin works like a quiet healer, easing that inner fire, reducing swelling, protecting your arteries from further harm. A study published in the American Journal of Cardiology found that patients who took curcumin supplements had a significantly lower risk of heart attacks after bypass surgery, showing just how powerful this humble spice can be. I started small: a warm cup of turmeric tea in the evening, a sprinkle of the powder in my morning eggs, sometimes just a pinch in rice or soup. And I noticed something. I felt lighter, not just physically, but emotionally. My joints didn't ache quite as much. My body didn't feel as inflamed. But beyond that, I felt like I was reconnecting with something ancient, like I was honoring a wisdom that modern medicine is only just beginning to catch up with. Now, I'm not saying turmeric is a miracle cure, but when paired with movement, with calm, with care, it becomes a daily ritual that supports the most sacred rhythm we have, the beat of our heart. So if you've been feeling stiff, tired, or inflamed, maybe, just maybe, this golden root holds part of the answer. And maybe your grandmother or someone else's was right all along. There's something deeply satisfying about the sound of a walnut cracking open in your hand. It reminds me of autumn afternoons, sitting on the porch with a small bowl beside me, slowly shelling them one by one. Back then, I thought I was just snacking. I didn't know I was giving my arteries exactly what they needed. Walnuts may be small, but they carry a powerful gift: alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid that supports heart health in remarkable ways. Studies have shown that ALA helps reduce LDL cholesterol, improve endothelial function, that's the inner lining of your arteries, and decrease systemic inflammation, all of which are crucial for keeping your blood vessels open and flexible. One research paper published in Circulation found that people who ate just a handful of walnuts every day had lower levels of artery clogging cholesterol and improved blood vessel elasticity, especially those over 60. What I love about walnuts is how accessible they are. No cooking required, no fancy preparation. You can toss a few into your oatmeal, crush them over a salad, or simply enjoy them straight from your hand while reading or watching the sunrise. At first, I worried about the calories or the fat. But then I learned, these are the good fats. The kind that feeds your brain, protects your heart, and keeps you feeling full, not heavy. Even just a quarter cup a day, that's about 12 to 14 walnut halves, can make a noticeable difference in your cholesterol profile over time. What makes walnuts especially healing after 65 is their ability to support both the heart and the mind. There's growing evidence that regular walnut intake may even delay cognitive decline, something many of us quietly fear as we age. And maybe that's the deeper truth here. We're not just eating for today. We're eating for the future version of ourselves, the one who still wants to remember names, take walks without pain, and wake up feeling alive. So next time you hear that gentle crack of a walnut shell, smile. It's not just a snack, it's a step towards strength, clarity, and quiet protection from the inside out. You don't need to make dramatic changes overnight. You don't need to turn your kitchen upside down or follow trends that come and go. Sometimes the most powerful changes are the quiet ones. A cup of warm beet juice in the morning, a handful of walnuts in the afternoon, a sprinkle of turmeric stirred into your evening tea, a plate of sautéed leafy greens beside your dinner, and a slice of fatty fish once or twice a week. That's it. That's how you begin to clean your arteries, one simple, thoughtful bite at a time. And more than that, it's how you take your health back into your own hands. I know how easy it is to feel like aging means losing control. You look around and see friends growing weaker, medications stacking up, appointments becoming more frequent, and somewhere inside a quiet voice asks, is this just how it has to be now? But what if the answer is no? What if your body, even now, is still listening, still healing, still responding to every small act of care you give it? Because that's what this really is. Not a list of foods, not a lecture, but an invitation to return to yourself, to nourish the heart that has beaten for you every day without asking for thanks, to choose foods that love you back, to believe, even now, that change is possible. So if this video has reminded you of something you already knew, deep down, or if it's planted a seed you want to nurture, I invite you to stay with us. Follow Golden Pathways for more healing habits, more gentle science, and more wisdom for your journey. And before you go, leave a comment below. What's one food that makes you feel alive, cared for, and strong? Your answer might just inspire someone else reading, someone who needed exactly that encouragement today. Because we're not just talking about food, we're talking about freedom. Freedom from fear, freedom from decline, freedom to live fully in the years we still have. And that, dear friend, is the most powerful path of all.